Yeah.
So tallying those up, that means you had 8 summers or 8 seasons. I don't know if it's full summers or what, but 8 seasons before your last four that you
Y-
spent at
Yeah.
cadets.
Yeah. By the time I went to cadets, I went to the Garfield cadets back then. In 1987, I was 17, and I already had 6 years of experience on snare drum, pretty much coming in there.
It's crazy.
And yeah, I had a ton of experience coming in, right? And yeah, it was fun.
It's obviously a very iconic summer, a very iconic show. Appalachian Spring, fantastic
Yeah.
music, a very iconic line. And did you all kind of know early on that they were kind of? It seemed like they were taking a different approach as far as like the normal thing, like, hey, we're not going to do the whole bring the drums up front and have the big long drum solo. It seemed to be the style back then, but we're just gonna be super musical and run and gun and like this is gonna be us. Did it feel different at all, or were you just kind of like,
Uh, no, quite honestly, when my first year there, I was barely hanging on to the rails. I mean, it was like we worked the work ethic, um, and still to this day, I suppose, with the cadets. But the work ethic that I learned that summer was my foundation of actually really teaching later on. But yeah, I honestly, Hannum's approach back then was about the music, right? It's about the music. It wasn't about the here, bring the drum line up and crank and do this. It was all about how it fit into the show, and we just bought in, and nobody questioned anything back then. It was like we just bought in 100% and just do our jobs, and that's what we did every day. We had that lunch pail mentality every day. Put the drum on, go. Here we go, and we had such faith that if we do this well, then things will be paid off to us, right? And ended up, obviously it did. you know we but
That's a common thing that I've heard talking to various people that have either been a part of like drum trophy winning lines or teaching drum trophy winning lines. They're just very adamant about nobody really thought too hard about it. We, like you just said, like a lunch pail group, just like wake up every day, go to work, don't think too hard, do your job. Like,
yeah,
I don't want to say no drama throughout a summer because it's a long tour. People are going to get on those nerves sometimes. But, like, you just go do your job. You just go get it done. Let the staff do their thing if you're a member and vice versa. Trust the members if you're a staff and just
yeah,
go after it and good things are going to happen.
yeah, trust the process.
Yep.
Trust the process. Go through, do what you need to do. I mean, even coming off the finals, field, we were still like, man, I wish I would have done it. We were just so constantly caught up into
Mm-hmm.
how to be perfect all the time and how can we get better? We were just constantly driven that way,
Did you all
all
play
the way through.
Frisbee finals day?
No, I
Is
think
that where
so.
your
No.
brain was going,
I,
Evan?
no? But I do remember Tom Monks telling that story about. He said that he was just like, I was trying to drill the drum line, and like Hannah was like, dude, they got it. Just let them chill out for a second. Like, let them play some frisbee or something. I don't know.
Well, I do remember the week of finals. Tom was back then. Tom was the only guy pretty much who did the whole tour. It was just him. I think Steve Kiefer was our bass guy, and then we have I think we had one or two other guys who kind of floated in and out. But Tom was with us from the beginning of move-ins through to finals. So Hannum needed to really separate him sometimes, like get away from them.
Go take a
You're
break.
going to,
Go take a
yes.
break. Yeah,
Here's a bottle of Jack. Go sit under that tree over there. Leave me alone.
that's
Because
awesome.
Tom, he was literally up our butts every day, every minute of every rehearsal, pretty much. And I got to tell you, again, talking about that work ethic, that's where I learned that from. That's my foundation of how I ended up teaching later on
Well,
to this day.
we always knew at Stars in 2010 when Tom came out to battery sectionals and he was the one running it, not the techs. We knew it was like, all right, we're gonna get our butts kicked right now. Get ready. Drink some extra water before the block starts.
Right.
That
Yeah.
was one thing that I always enjoyed about because you didn't always run the sectionals at
Right.
Crown when you were there.
Right.
A lot of that was
Yeah.
Zach, and then that summer with Jeff Brooks. But there,
Yep.
every now and then you would like get out and you'd be at the snare sectionals, and it was just a good change of pace because the rehearsals were always so fast paced because you didn't talk a lot. You were just like you played that wrong. Reset, go back. Like reset, go back. Reset, go back. Like, but it really allows you to build momentum and consistency. Not just because you're doing the reps over and over, but I always felt like, we're doing these reps so quick behind each other. This is actually how I feel in the middle of the show. When
That's
I'm
right.
5 minutes in, I didn't get a 2-minute break before I did this rep because
Right.
that's what I don't get that in the show. It's just go back, do it again, go back, do it again. And your heart rate's just jacked. But when you figure out how to do it that way, you figure out how to do it that way.
You learn
Actually,
to control that.
Yeah, and things slow down for you in the actual show when it actually happens. It actually slows down for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned all that from Hannum and Unks pretty much. Hannum was the guy who came in and he wrote the beats, but he would also take over rehearsal, very disciplined rehearsal. And then Tom would be all over us in terms of work ethic and just a great cleaner all those years. I had great opportunities. Yeah, between the two of them, 87 and 88 with Hannum, and then Unks took over in 89. And 89 is one of my fun years of cadets. I consider it fun. Half the snare line was Canadian, so we used to have these Canada-USA wars during the day, like who would tick the most or who would not tick, and the Canadians always won. I gotta tell you.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, you had the 4 great years at Cadets. Obviously, success in a competitive aspect, and 2 of those from 87 and 90. Was 90 the Stonehenge show?
No, 90 was Best of Bernstein.
Oh, Stonehenge was like 98, 99. But yeah.
That was much later.
Yeah, much later. But first place in 87, first place in 90, and also Fred Sanford winners both those years, if I remember.
Yep.
But